You walk into a room, completely beneath your awareness, and it has a name. Psychologists call it place-based emotional memory, the way physical environments become encoded with the emotional states you experienced inside them. The place doesn't just remind you of what happened, it becomes part of what happened. And when you return, the body remembers first. You are not irrational. You are not haunted. You are not weak for feeling heavy in a room that once held something hard. What you are is a person whose nervous system is extraordinarily accurate. It recorded something real, and it stored it somewhere real. The heaviness you feel in certain places is not a malfunction, it's fidelity. Your brain held the record perfectly. The question isn't whether the feeling is real. It is. The question is, what do you do with a record that keeps playing in the wrong moment? Let's go inside the brain. When you experience something emotionally charged, fear, grief, shame, or even deep joy, your brain doesn't just process the emotion, it packages it. And into that package goes everything present at the moment of feeling. The light in the room, the temperature, the smell, the particular angle of a ceiling, the sound of a door. This packaging happens in the hippocampus, the brain's primary memory architect, working in close collaboration with the amygdala, the brain's emotional alarm center. These two structures are neighbors, and they are always in conversation. The hippocampus says, "Here is where we were." The amygdala says, "Here is how it felt." Together, they create what neuroscientists call a context-dependent emotional memory, an experience filed not just with what happened, but where it happened. Think of it like this. Imagine the brain as an enormous filing system. Most memories are filed by topic, but emotional memories are filed differently. They're filed by location. And when you return to that location, even decades later, the drawer opens. Not slowly, instantly, before you've thought a single word. This is why the body responds before the mind does. Your legs slow down, your breath shortens, your jaw tightens, and only then does the mind arrive and ask, "Why do I feel this way?" The body already knew. It recognized the filing address. There's a deeper layer to this. Neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux identified what he called the low road of emotional processing. When a sensory cue is detected, a smell, a visual pattern, the quality of light, a signal travels directly from the thalamus to the amygdala, bypassing the thinking brain entirely. The amygdala fires, the body reacts, and all of this happens in milliseconds before the prefrontal cortex, the part of you that reasons and reflects, has even been consulted. You don't choose to feel heavy in that place. The feeling arrives before choice is possible. And then there is something called somatic marking, a concept developed by neuroscientist Antonio Damasio. The body doesn't just respond to emotional memory, it stores it. In muscle tension, in posture, in the speed of your breathing. Certain places don't just trigger a thought, they activate a bodily state, a posture you used to hold there, a way of bracing that you learned in that room. The body becomes the archive, and it opens without being asked. So what do you do when a place carries more weight than you want it to? Principle 1. Name what the place is actually holding. Most people walk through heavy spaces faster. They avoid looking. They fill the silence with their phone. But avoidance doesn't close the drawer. It just leaves it open. Instead, if it's safe to do so, pause. Ask, what does this place remind my body of? Not your mind, your body. What posture does it want to take? What emotion is sitting in your chest? This is interoceptive awareness, the psychological practice of reading your inner signals. Research by psychologist Lisa Feldman Barrett shows that naming a bodily feeling with precision actually reduces its intensity. The act of labeling creates just enough distance to breathe. Principle 2. Separate the place from the past. The place is not the event. The room is not the relationship. The building is not the version of you that suffered there. Cognitive behavioral therapy uses a technique called cognitive diffusion, the practice of observing your thoughts and feelings without fusing with them. You can feel the heaviness and simultaneously hold the awareness. This is a signal from the past. It is not a verdict on right now. The feeling is real, but the danger, in most cases, is not. Principle 3. Introduce something new into the space. Memory reconsolidation research, led by neuroscientist Kareem Nader, shows that when a memory is retrieved, it enters a brief window of malleability. It can be updated. If you return to a heavy place and deliberately introduce something calm, a slow breath, a grounding sensation, the feeling of your feet on the floor, a moment of quiet safety, you begin adding new data to the old emotional file, not erasing the past, updating it. Over time, the place begins to carry more than one story. Principle 4. Let grief be grief. Some places are heavy because something real ended there. Someone you loved, a version of yourself, a life you thought you were going to have. Psychologist Colin Murray Parks's research on grief found that one of the reasons mourning is so prolonged is that we try to think our way through it, rather than feel our way through it. Some places deserve to be sat with, not fixed, not reframed, just honored. Grief that is witnessed, even by yourself, moves. Grief that is avoided, stays. Here is the one mental model to hold. Think of any emotionally significant place you've been as a room in a building you still carry with you. You can't demolish the building, but you can walk through the rooms differently. You can open windows. You can change what the light looks like inside. You can bring something new into a room that only held one thing before. The heaviness of a place is not proof that you're still trapped there. It's proof that something mattered there, and the brain, in its faithful, ancient way, kept the record. The question is never, how do I make this place mean nothing? The question is, how do I let this place mean something I can carry? You are allowed to feel the weight of certain rooms. You are allowed to move through them slowly. You are allowed to leave quickly sometimes. But you are also allowed to go back one day, not to relive it, but to realize that you are no longer the version of yourself who needed to survive it. Some places will always feel like history. That's okay. History is not a sentence. You are not defined by the rooms that were hard. You were shaped by the fact that you walked through them and kept walking. That has always been enough.